Coming up on Network Africa. South Africa's ruling African National Congress leads as votes are being counted in the country. South Sudan President Salva Kiir says the formation of a unity government should be delayed by at least a year. Plus, a senior member of Burundi's Electoral Commission calls for the independent media to be barred from covering next year's presidential poll. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shoboali. We begin today in South Africa, where votes are being counted after the country's general elections. With results declared in some 38% of districts, the ANC has won about 56% of the ballot, well ahead of the opposition Democratic Alliance on 25%. The Radical Economic Freedom Fighters is in third place with 9% based on the official early results. The governing party took 62% at the last election in 2014, but analysts say anger over the economy and corruption may have eroded its appeal. Let's get more on this from our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia. Thank you for joining us, Betty. What's the latest on the poll results?
Well, we're pretty much where you are, but every moment there's movement on the figures. According to the IEC Chief Electoral Officer, Saima Mapolo, he says by 10 p.m. local time, 90% of the results may have been counted. But we know there's some issues being raised by some members of the public and some of the political parties, so that may delay the official call or official date of the call at the end of the day. But it's still the ANC so far with about 40% of the votes counted, still ahead by over 50%, and the DA at 20-something, EFF coming third, and a surprise fourth is the FF Plus, which is the Freedom Front Plus, which is mainly a lot of white people and Afrikaners taking the place of the IFP at this point, and that's one of the surprises. But vote counting is still going on, so no one can really say if there will still be surprises ahead.
Betty, you mentioned some issues that may delay the announcement of the results, and we understand that opposition parties, that the DA and the EFF have raised concerns about possible voter fraud and double voting in Wednesday's elections. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, the issue of double voting, alleged double voting, you had some people who claimed they had voted twice in some places. We understand at this point that 4 people have been arrested. There are those who say more than 4 people, but the official IEC statement is that 4 people have been arrested, and that the director or the chief executive electoral officer says that an audit of the vote will take place, but an audit firm is yet to be appointed to do so. These are some of the things that may cause delays. You also have places where an area in the northwest, I think, where some are claiming that the number of votes counted is more than those who were actually there to vote. That hasn't been verified. It's some of the things that they're going to be investigating. And according to the IEC, it's only just one polling station where the polling station didn't open at all. But others, there were delays. There were places where the electoral officers didn't come in early, and some places where people were quite concerned for their security. So these are some of the things, and but they've assured the public that they will ensure the integrity of the outcome of the election, and everybody's complaints will be taken. They're not throwing anything away. They said they will be investigating and will let people know the outcome.
Okay, data coming in from the country's electoral commission suggests that voter turnout this time around has been the lowest since South Africa became a multi-ethnic democracy in 1994. What could be responsible for this?
I guess majorly a lack of trust, apart from some areas where you had, well, even the areas where you had a tornado, and I can't remember the province. People still went out, managed to vote, but generally, I think is a lack of trust in the political class. People, some of the people we spoke to yesterday, I think I had one in one of my packages saying, we don't know the difference they're going to bring. At the end of the day, we still have the same, as they say, the same of the same here. And we don't trust them. We don't know what they'll do. And you have those who are saying, to make a difference, you have to go out there to vote. So I guess generally a lack of trust. But then again, the representation, let me talk about the national now. Representation is according to the percentage of the vote that you get. So if you have a 0.25%, you get a seat in parliament. So that's what most of the parties are hoping that they will get into parliament. So it's the vote percentage that guarantees you. They may not truly be affected, but generally I think it's a lack of trust in the political class. And some of these things we have seen, the corruption, the extent of corruption, you know, of the ruling class. That's what may have hampered the voter turnout. But a lot of people were still quite enthusiastic to vote. It was quite exciting to see people coming out. And you know, here you have the diaspora vote, you have the special votes for those who will be working on the day of election. Then you have the mobile units that go to visit those who are sick or pregnant or very old. Although some people complain that some of those units didn't get to them and they didn't get to vote. And in the Eastern Cape, people had to go long distances. Those who couldn't didn't get to vote. And those are some of the complaints that people have.
Well, all right then. Thank you, Betty, for giving us an update on the situation in the country. Well, we'll be speaking to you as the results come in.
Thank you.
Moving on, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir says the formation of a unity government should be delayed by at least a year, despite a May 12 deadline agreed on in a September peace agreement. The president says the government has been unable to disarm, house, train and integrate South Sudan's various forces since the deal had been signed. He also rejected a suggestion by former rebel leader Riek Machar that the new government be formed in 6 months. Mr. Kiir adds that the postponement comes at Mr. Machar's request, but the rainy season will make it hard to accomplish the integration of their forces within 6 months. Mr. Machar called for a 6-month delay during a meeting with the Pope last month. Around 400,000 people died during South Sudan's 5-year civil war, which broke out in 2013 between forces loyal to Machar, then Vice President, and President Kiir. African Affairs analyst Ejeta Otinoyu joins us live on the program to further discuss this issue. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. So what do you make of President Salva Kiir's call to delay the formation of a unity government by at least a year?
Now you would notice, Jenny, that this postponement is the latest one of the many postponements that they've had to have a unity government. Salva Kiir's position really has been that of distrust of Maka, and it's playing out again. The excuses that he's given this time has to do with the boundaries, the internal boundaries that have not been drawn up, and as well as the resettlement of the rebel fighters. If you ask me, those excuses are tenuous. The bottom line, the underpinning of this further postponement is the lack of trust between the two major gladiators in the peace process of South Sudan government. And it's going to continue to play out. Even if Maka comes back as the deputy speaker, we're not sure that the peace process is not going to go up in flames again. So there is no one situation. If the regional government must look for a way to sort out a peace process that is without found these two gladiators that have been troubling the peace process. That's my position, really.
Well, Mr. Jetta, like you mentioned, the current agreement reached last September follows a string of failed peace deals. But this one has largely held so far, despite both parties missing key deadlines. What can the international community do to ensure that this peace agreement works?
The international community has played a very big role in ensuring that peace returns to the very young democracy that's South Sudan. And even like that, the regional government are playing its role. But we must realize that the South Sudan government is an independent government. It has its sovereignty. So there's little that the outside world can do to ensure that the peace process that they're pursuing holds. If the parties, the dramatic personnel, do not want peace to hold in South Sudan, and it goes back to the long-drawn war before independence, before the referendum, and then shortly after independence in 2011, less than 2 years, the civil war broke out. So the South Sudanese people must agree to have the peace process hold. We're grateful to them so far that it is the longest that I've held in many of the peace processes. But again, what is the goal of all of this? The goal is really to have a free environment, democratic environment, a peaceful atmosphere for that country to thrive, to even take off, not to thrive, because that country has refused to take off.
African Affairs Analyst Ejeta Otionio, thank you so much for speaking to us on that situation. Now, in East Africa, senior members of Burundi's Electoral Commission has called for the independent media to be barred from covering next year's presidential poll. Jean Ika Burundi claims the independent media has tried to bring the country to its knees and has a mission to create chaos. He says the media was responsible for the violence that engulfed Burundi after the presidential election in 2015, when President Pierre Nkurunziza decided to run for a third term in office. Burundi recently banned international media, BBC and Voice of America journalists from working in the country. Now, here in Nigeria, some young techies have created a mobile platform that records the electricity supply in homes, offices or communities. The app, opnepa.ng, does not only let users know when last power was restored, but also predicts when next it might be disrupted, or restored, as the case may be. This next report tells us more.
Having stable electricity supply is key, but unfortunately, the lack of it is one situation many Nigerians have had to constantly deal with. But now, there appears to be a little change with opnepa.ng, a software application developed by some students of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. The app notifies users about when and where electricity is available. Taslim Salahuddin, who is a recent graduate of the school, said he developed the app with his brother to solve the problem of students always looking around campus for power supply, either for academic or personal pursuits.
If there's no power supply on campus, we try to know if we have power supply at home. So we thought of how best could we solve this problem for our personal selves actually. How best could we always know the current power status of school and everywhere around school, right, from where we are, whenever we need it.
How does the app work?
We have a smart device that has the ability to detect power supply. Now, once that device detects power supply, it sends information to the cloud, and the mobile application feeds from the cloud to tell you whether or not you have power supply at home. So it's simple. The device tells you there's light, there's no light. The device is designed to be very home friendly, so it's a very small device that you just plug into a power outlet. So it listens to when the power outlets get power supply. So all we did is get an area that we know nobody will disturb the device there. It can be in an house or in a shop or anywhere where you locate that is safe.
They take their application a step further by adding a special feature to it.
We designed the system to be able to detect when your friend puts on a generator. So it was quite tricky, it worked out. So whenever you have the application and you on your generator and you charge your phone detects that you are charging it at that moment. So it updates your profile on our application that you are currently using power supply. So our device in that area knows there's no light. So, but you are the only one charging your device. That means most likely you are using a generator.
As students, it wasn't an easy task, and Taslim tells us how it went.
The first challenge was being able to access the needed materials to create our device. It's very difficult to work on hardware and Internet of Things here in Nigeria because of the infrastructure. They are quite poor. We find it difficult to get the material needed to test run the device and iterate on it. So some particular sensors that were needed to create the device were not available in Nigeria. So we had to ship from China and wait for like 20-something days because we couldn't use DHL. So each time we wait, just to try out a particular maybe iteration method, whether it will work or not. So if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, we'll try again.
With UpNepa Nigeria, both students and everyone else can better plan their tasks, which in turn could boost productivity.
Still to come on the program, a Chinese academy teaches students in South Africa how to dance. Please stay with us.